If you want to have a 1080p maxed out experience, and I'm talking about ultra settings, any game, no FPS issues, this video is going to be for you. I will show you the perfect 1080p gaming PC build with no bottlenecks, and I will explain everything as simply as possible. That way, if you're a beginner, you are able to understand me and you are able to understand the average performance on this system on different titles. Also, this PC is perfectly capable of 1440p, so if you're looking for a 1440p starter PC, this one is going to be for you as well, but I will explain a bit more about that in a second. All the links to these PC components will be down in the video description. With that being said, let's start. For the CPU, we have the AMD Ryzen 5 7600. This CPU is a 6-core 12-thread processor from the newest AM5 platform. Honestly, this is a great CPU, and remember, we want maxed out experience, so we want a PC that's going to be excellent for GPU high demanding titles, but also for CPU high demanding titles. Since it's from the newest AM5 platform, you also have future proof, in case down the line you want to upgrade to a newer CPU from the platform. For the motherboard, we have the MSI Pro B650M. This motherboard is nothing too crazy. Honestly, this is just a budget $120 motherboard, but it is going to get the job done, and I don't think you need anything more, especially for 1080p gaming. For the memory kit, we have a great 32 gigs of RAM kit with excellent speeds. This is an ultra fast 32 gigs of RAM kit of DDR5 memory at 6000 MHz CL36 for $82. Of course, if you want to go with 16 gigs of RAM, you're going to save around $30 or so, but having 32 gigs of RAM in your PC is going to make your overall experience smoother, and especially if you're going to do streaming. For the storage, we have the MSI M450 1TB of Gen 4 SSD. This 1TB of Gen 4 SSD is more like a Gen 3 SSD because of the speed, but for gaming, there's no difference between the highest end Gen 4 SSD and the lowest end Gen 4 one, so for the price of $28, I don't think we can complain about it. For the graphics card, we have the PowerColor RX 6700 XT, and this is the most important component when it comes to gaming performance. The RX 6700 XT is, in my opinion, maxed out at 1080p and also a good starting point for 1440p. It has the lowest cost per frame at 1440p, meaning that it's the best price to performance GPU out there, and on a 15 game average at 1080p on high to ultra settings, and we are talking about high demanding titles as well. On the latest test from TechSpot, it was able to average 103 FPS, which, trust me, is a really high number considering the testing was not only for easy to run titles like Fortnite or Valorant. If you want to play those type of games, Fortnite, Valorant, CSGO, because you get the Ryzen 5 7600, you're going to get a 240 plus FPS on average experience. So if you want a 240Hz monitor or even a 360Hz one, feel free to buy one, so because the RX 6700 XT is going to be able to handle those monitors. And the only games that the 6700 XT is not going to be able to run great at 1080p are the games that are not well optimized. For example, Starfield. If you want to play Starfield, the 6700 XT is going to be able to average around 50 to 60 FPS on average on high settings, which is not a bad number at all for this game. But if you want a higher performance, then you can go ahead and get the RX 6800 or 6800 XT, but that is going to be much more expensive, and honestly, I don't see the point on buying a high-end GPU just for one game, unless that game is the only one that you play. Then at 1440p on that same 15 game average test, it was able to average 74 FPS, so if you want a 1440p 60 plus FPS on average experience, this one is also a great starting point. And for easier to run titles like GTA 5 for example, you will be able to average way more than 74 FPS. Another point about the 6700 XT is that it comes with 12 gigs of VRAM, which for 1080p 8 gigs is going to be enough for the most part, but on the latest AAA titles, having 12 gigs of VRAM is actually going to make a difference, and it's also more future proof because down the line, newer AAA titles coming out may require more than 8 gigs of VRAM even at 1080p. For the case, we have the Bitfinex Nova Mesh Micro ATX tower case. I do recommend this case a lot, the Bitfinex Nova Mesh. The reason being is because it comes with 3 pre-installed fans already, a front mesh panel, and the price is only $60. Honestly, this is a great case, but if you do not like the aesthetics of it, then you will have an alternative in the description as well. And last but not least, for the power supply, we have the Apivia Prestige 800 watt 80 plus volt power supply. Yes, you heard it right, 800 watts is absolutely not necessary for this system, but considering this one one is only $67, I have to recommend it. This is C tier rated, so it's going to be really good quality for this type of build, and the reason why I went with 800 watts is maybe down the line you want to upgrade to the 6800 or 6800 XT, and a 600 watt 80 plus volt power supply is not going to be the safest option in my opinion, so having 800 watts give you some room for improvement down the line, especially for graphics cards like the 6800 XT, 7800 XT, or GPUs like the RTX 4070, 4060 Ti, even though those are not really power hungry. Now let's talk about the price. The total price for this system by the time that I'm recording this video is $900. Maybe when you're watching this it's a bit more expensive or a bit cheaper, so for 1080p resolution it's not going to be the cheapest PC out there, and you can downgrade a couple of things to make it cheaper. For example, the RAM, you can go with 16 gigs of RAM if gaming is all that you're going to do, and you save up around $30 there. Another downgrade that you can make is the power supply. Going from 800 watts to 600 watts is going to save you around $15, so you can save around $45 total if you make those two downgrades. But if you want maxed out overall experience for 1080p, I think spending the $900 is going to be worth it. And then of course you can make it more expensive if Starfield is your favorite title, or you really want to run highest demanding titles out there that are not well optimized. Then yes, you can get something like the RX 6800 or 6800 XT, or even RTX 4070, but that is going to cost you around $200 to $250 more. Also, if your budget is a slightly different, or you're considering spending more or less than this, I highly recommend you watching my video about the best PC builds for every single budget and every resolution, where you will find your perfect PC if your budget is different. And if you want a PREBUILT PC, or you just have questions about PC builds because you're going to buy one, you can get my personal PC help. Link to that will be in the comment section. And if you watched this whole video, comment down below that you watched it all. That way I know you're a real one. And thank you so much. And thank you so much for your support. I will see you on the next one.